Hi friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Juan. I'm a yarn addict, hence the name Juan the Yarn Addict, and I want to thank each and every one of you guys for stopping by to check out my video today. This is a yarn and crochet channel where we talk about all things yarn and all things crochet, so if that interests you, please sit back and enjoy this video because today, my friends, I offer session number 40 of Whipping It with Juan. If you're new here, hi, hello, and welcome. I'm super happy that you found me. If you're not new here and you're returning, welcome back. I'm so glad you returned. So my friends, Whipping It with Juan is a session where I sit back, I work on my whips, I talk about whatever comes to my brain, and we just enjoy each other's company for about 45 minutes to an hour. So if that is of interest to you, please stick around, watch the video, enjoy it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and maybe leave a comment or two. I would definitely appreciate the support. So what do I have on my hook? Let me show you. So I've shown this several times. This here is the textured cabin throw. And this is where we're at. Actually, I have it upside down. So here is the textured cabin throw. This is week number 7. And the colorway here for week 7 is Mist. So Trisha over at Mama Swift, she drew for week number 8. And my color for week number 8 is red. So we're going to be putting red on here. And actually, now that I look at it, yes, I'm here for that. Now, if you noticed, the shade of red is a little different because I ran out of this yarn. That's fine. Red is red right now because this is all the red that I have to use. All of the red that I have in stash is bright red, so we're putting it on there. So there's that one. And then, of course, I have the Fireside Friends. Now, I'm a little behind on this one. I just finished week number 6. The colorway for week 6 was Leaf, and so I'm going to put a border of white around this one and then go on to the next week, which by all accounts, from what we can see here, is the Mist. And I brought the skein in here to work up, so if I get that far, we're going to work on that, okay? All right, so after that one, I have this hat that I am playing with, and so I got yarn from Tracy. She's got a store. It's called hobbyrocks.co.uk. And in one of her mystery bags, I received 2 skeins of this Stylecraft New Swift Knit. Super chunky. It's a 6 weight yarn and it suggests a 10mm crochet hook. Well, I hooked down to a 9 and this is what I have so far. It's just a simple double crochet beanie that I can play around with and put on Matt's head. So the super fun thing about this is that I only had 3 rounds of increases before going to my required stitches. So I have a feeling that this is going to work up super, super fast, and I'm excited about this. But I do have to tell you that there aren't that many yards on this skein here. This is 68 yards for this whole cake, or not cake, skein. 68 yards. So we'll see. I have about yay much left. It feels like a little less than half. So that's one of the projects we're going to work on. And finally, I have a cake challenge. So I've been passing out cake challenges and things, and the cakes that I've been passing out were, if you get a cake, you pick 3 colors. From the cake, you pull those yarns from your stash to add to your project, and you have to use the entire cake. So in mail, I received this. So I pulled yarns from stash, and the yarns that I went with, the colors I went with, bright yellow, red, this is cherry red, and turquoise. So those are the colors. Now you can't really see the red, but it's right there in the middle. You just have just a little bit right there in the center. And so what do I make with this? Well, as I'm working the other projects, I may come up with an idea on what to do with this. So we shall see. So that is what is on my hook, friends. What is on your hook? I'm so curious. I'm always wondering. Totally inquisitive here. Wondering minds would love to know. Do you have many whips on the hook? Do you just have one? For me, I have all the whips on all the hooks. I mean, at one time I had 42 whips, and it got to a point where I had to reassess. I had to figure out, okay, which whips do I want to keep as whips? Which whips do I want to get rid of and frog back or give away, whatever the case may be. And I'm still going through that process. I want to estimate and say I'm somewhere near the high 20s, the low 30s. That's where I'm at right now. So that number may change the further along I get. The goal is obviously to not have any whips. But as it stands, as a content creator, I'm always creating, I'm always designing. So I feel like I'm always going to have things on the hook. And I have to be okay with that. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. So that's my reality and I'm okay with it. But if I can keep that number as low as possible, that would be great too. So let me create my table here with my leg. I use my kneecap as a table. You know, when I got to look close at a stitch, I'm like this. So I lean over to my table. Does anyone else have a table? Anyway, so I'm going to start with the textured cabin throw. I've said this before, but it bears worth repeating. This pattern comes to us from Trisha. Her channel name is Mama Swift, and she entrusted me with this pattern to create the tutorial on my channel. So if you're wondering how to make this, the tutorial is on my channel. Feel free to check it out. And the project that this is being worked up in is Luck of the Draw number 9, also from Trisha. So on her channel, every Thursday, she draws up a number and we assign numbers to colors. And so now for week number 8, I'm on red. So there is that. This textured cabin throw is just so much fun to work up. It's very fast. And it's a 2-row repeat, which is great. I mean, you can go on autopilot and just put those stitches in, and before you know it, you're done. It's so good. Now, this color here is repeating from week number 2. The sad part about it is I ran out of the Just Yarn in red, and so I pulled this red from Stash, but the shade of red is different than the Premier's red. So, by all accounts, the light on the camera is showing that this is more bright than the yarn that I've used previously, and that's okay. I'm okay with it. It's the red that I have, and it needs to be worked up. It needs to go to a good home, and the kiddo who gets this blanket is going to love it nonetheless. So I'm okay with it. I'm wondering though if I have enough yarn on this cake to work up Fireside Friends when I get to it for this particular week. So when I get to week 8 there. So I have leaf on there now. Excuse me. I'll jump over to the mist and then the red. I think I'll have enough. We'll see. If not, I'll dig through Stash and find another red. I'll find another red and another red. It's fine. I love that. So I think if I were to give myself like a long-term goal, my long-term goal is by the new year to have under 20 whips. I think that's attainable because, I mean, it's October, so in 2 months. If I give myself 2 months to just slowly chip away at some of these whips, I know for sure I can get it under 20. Maybe even a little further because, you know, some of these projects I haven't seen in such a while that I'm not really sure how much left I even have on some of them. I have whips inside of closed containers. I just know there's a whip in there. You know, once I pull it out and reassess and decide, we can go from there and see. So we'll see. I know before I started my channel, I had no whips. And all of a sudden, one right after another, single file line come through the studio. I'm a whip and I'm a whip and I'm a whip. Just keep hooking, just keep hooking. That's all we have to say to ourselves, you know? So as the whips come, just keep hooking. So good, right? That red it's what this blanket needed, because you have all of these like muted colors. I don't want to say cool colors, but they're muted. So to have a red there right after all of that is pretty great. Love that for us. So it is my goal for this Whipping It with Juan session, my friends, to touch all of the projects that I've introduced in the beginning. So I may not be able to finish any of these projects, but the goal here is to move the needle on all of them. So even if I do one stitch on a whip, I've moved that needle. It's minuscule. I barely moved that needle, but I moved it because I'm one stitch closer to the end. So as long as I keep that mentality, every stitch matters. It does not matter if it was 1 stitch or 1,000 stitches. A stitch is a stitch, and it's going to get you closer to the end. So I do these Whipping It with Juan sessions, my friends, because it gives me the opportunity to work on these projects. Also, it gives me a chance to just gab at the gums and shoot the breeze and just have fun, you know? C'est la vie, as they say. And I really enjoy doing that, especially because I know that there are many viewers who watch the Whipping It with Juans, and they use this as a way to have some company while they crochet. So I say all of that to say that if after this particular video you're still looking for some company, feel free to check my playlist. I keep a whole bunch of these in a playlist. Feel free to pick and choose whichever one you want. Just look at the thumbnail, the project that I'm working on or whatever, and just have at it. You'll always have company. And I make these all the time, and I think I'm just going to continue making these because they're fun. Now, I promise when I talk, I don't imagine speaking to myself. Even though technically that's kind of what this is, I'm talking to myself, but I imagine there's someone else on the other side of that camera just watching me and answering my questions and talking back to me even though I can't hear. That's what I envision. That's what I imagine, and I want that for you. So you have a crochet buddy in me if you want one, and you know, if you ever have any questions to throw my way, just bounce off of me through the comments. Just put them in the comments and I'll read them, and on the next Whipping It with Juan, you know, I'll bring it up. We'll talk about it, especially if it's yarn related. Now, let me preface all of that by saying I'm not going to be able to answer every single question, because who knows, I may have opened the floodgates. But if we keep it yarn related, you know, I will be very, very diligent. I'll write the things down and I'll keep it right here on the table, and I'll use them as like talking points. I'll answer questions. And if there are no questions, that's okay too, because I mean, I've said this before and I'll tell you again, that if you give me a skein of yarn and say, here, Juan, talk about this, I can spend 30 minutes literally talking to you about this one hank or one skein of yarn. I mean, I will pick this apart and talk about the fibers. I will talk about the way that it moves through the wind. I'll talk about colors, and there's always something to talk about. So don't you worry if you don't have any questions for me. I will find things to talk about. I think that's why I like these too. I just love to talk. I can't help that part, unfortunately. I mean, it is what it is, you know? Anyway, so this textured cabin throw, right? My favorite part of this whole thing is, believe it or not, the granny stitch. The 3 double crochets, you know, when you hop over and you just do the 3, the 3, the 3, the 3. That's my favorite part because it's autopilot. You don't have to think. You just look for the one that had that front post and you just put those 3 stitches right on in there. It's so much fun, for me anyway. But, and then, you know, when you turn it around, you have to do that treble crochet. And that's where like that texture comes in at. That's nice too. I'm just saying. So there is that. Now, sometimes, like, I did think about doing an extended double crochet, but you know, it doesn't have the same look. Well, I guess it does, but not really, I guess. I don't know. I thought about doing it, but my conscience was like, Juan, just do the treble. Just do the treble one. It's fine. It's not for the house, it's for the kids. Do the treble. Oh my. All right, so let me just wrap around twice and then go down and around and do all the things. All right, so I was thinking once I finish this row, I'll go ahead and hop on to the next project, which is going to be this super bulky hat. I keep forgetting to wrap around twice. That's okay. We just pull it back and wrap around twice and just keep on going. So there is that. Oops. Whoopsie. Okay. How much further do I have? Oh, this is a while yet. I'm going to go as fast as I can, I promise. I'll go as fast as I can. Hold on. I just did an extended double. Let's wrap twice, Juan. Wrap twice. Sometimes I have to verbally remind myself, just do the things, Juan. You know? This yarn is nice, too. It's not Premier's. It may be Red Heart. Is it cherry red? Yes, it's cherry red. I should have known. So, what is your favorite yarn? For me, I mean, I've been introduced to so many yarns this past year since I started my channel. I came in just knowing what my favorite yarns were. And my favorite yarns have changed at least 3 times this year. So I have, is it a new favorite value yarn? Or, I mean, I'm not exactly sure how to classify this because there are a lot of yarns that I just love that I didn't really know about when I first started my channel. So I didn't know anything about bougie yarn. I didn't even know there was a thing called bougie yarn. Had no idea. For me, Red Heart, Burnett Super Saver, not Super Saver, Burnett Super Value, that is. Red Heart, Burnett Super Value, Big Twist, I knew about but never really touched, and it was Loops and Thread Soft Classic. Okay, there were those, and then I had my Karen 1 pounds and the Lion Brand Pound of Love. So, I mean, my knowledge base was very limited, and it was because I was brought up with the idea and mentality that you bought the value yarns and you did as much as you can with that yarn to make it go as far as you could, you know? So we were very frugal with our yarn, and yeah, I've always been that way. Until I started my channel, and then I learned about all these other yarns. I'm like, wow, okay. So that is what a hank is. Interesting. It feels amazing. It feels like a pillow. It feels like a cloud and all the things. And then I started shopping different websites like Ice Yarns and Premier, and I mean, I was introduced to so many different things so fast, you know. I say all that to say that my favorite yarn, my favorite value yarn, there's a tie. I cannot pick one. I can't. There's just no way. I thought about this back and forth. There's no way. My favorite value yarn is a tie. It's Loops and Thread Soft Classic. And tied for first is Big Twist. That would have never come out of my mouth last year. Never. It was Karen 1 pound and Loops and Threads. If you scroll back, you'll actually hear me talking about this, telling you guys that Karen 1 pound and my Loops and Threads, those are my go-to yarns. You know, I've been using 1 pound since I was 15 years old, the Karen 1 pound, since I was 15. It's still one of my favorite yarns, but it's not number 1. And the reason why it's not number 1 is because the colorways are too muted. there aren't as many colors to play with. I mean, there are colors, but when you pull big twist yarns from Stash, or you go to Joann's and you look at their wall of big twist yarns, are you kidding me right now? There are so many colors, and there's ombres, and there's speckles, and there's stripes, and there's variegateds. Well, multis is what they call them. But their big twist line has so many different colors. And they recently did some sort of upgrade with their yarn that like was not there last year. I remember pulling big twist when I first started my channel, and I used a prim hook, and I'm like, not a fan. And then within the last 6 months or so, I went ahead and decided to go ahead and bite the bullet and buy some big twist. And I sat here and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is not like the yarn that I had 6 months ago. This actually feels really good. Huh, let me try other hooks. And believe it or not, I really enjoyed working big twist up with the different hooks. I was sold hook, line, and sinker. And then the fact that it's always on sale. You can always find big twist on sale. Even when you don't think it's on sale because there's a coupon or there's something. There's always something, right? Well, with Loops and Threads Soft Classic, well, there aren't that many sales on it, but it is very thick. Like for me, it's a thick 4-weight yarn, and it works up beautifully. It's plump. You can feel the meat on the bones. I mean, there aren't that many colorways in comparison to Big Twist, but it makes up for it in the actual quality of that yarn. It is super, super nice, and it's affordable. Honestly, I think that the Loops and Threads Soft Classic is worth every penny, even when it's not on sale, in my very humble opinion. Number 2, yeah, my second place yarn is a tie as well, because I just can't pick one. So the tie is actually between Karen 1 Pound and Premier Basics. That's my number 2. And the only reason why Premier Basics is number 2 is because of the price point. If the price point were a little lower, if it were able to match the price point of Soft Classics, Loops and Threads Soft Classic, if it was able to meet that, then I think that my Premier Basics would be tied with number 1 with Big Twist. The Premier Basics, again, all of the color choices. You have all of the choices. The other thing that really pushes it back a little bit is it's not readily available in stores. You have to order it online. You have to wait for it to come in. It lacks that impulse value. You can't just go to Joann's and pick it up off the shelf. You order it, you wait for it to come, and so for me, that's a little minor setback, but it's well worth the wait. When you do get it in, and you're crocheting with it, or you're knitting with it, or whatever you do with it, you're getting high quality value yarn there. I need to go back to crocheting. Anyway, so those are my top yarns for value yarns. Now, I don't really know too much about bougie yarn to be rating them. I have played around with some bougie yarn. I have some here, and I'm learning about all of the bougie yarns. So I remember early on when I would get Happy Mail that had bougie yarn in it, I didn't really understand the value of it, and so to me it was just yarn, you know. And I spoke about this several times where, you know, I would open up Happy Mail and people would reach out and say, do you not understand what you just had in your hands? And I'm like, no, it's yarn. Well, I quickly learned that there is a huge difference. And so with that, I mean, I have played around with lots of yarn this year, but not enough to formulate favorites. I do have some go-tos, but yeah, I just love yarn. Don't you guys love yarn? Yarn is just so much fun. I love going to Goodwill stores and seeing like what they have on their shelf. Now I showcased this recently. I was able to go to Goodwill and I found 2 skeins of Noro for $1.99 each. It was absolutely amazing. Noro for $1.99 each. I mean, they weren't the biggest skeins. They were about yay big, but for $1.99, that was a deal and a steal. I had to wait forever in that line because there was only one cashier, and I refused to leave out of that store without that Noro. I was going home with Noro that day. And I think I got another yarn too. I think it was Jupiter Moon, I think it was, for $1.99 a hank. Got a couple of those. Oh yeah. I was super excited about this. I'm like, you guys can be all day. As long as you check me out before you close, we are good. I'm getting this yarn for $1.99. So, by my calculations, with what I had in my hand, I should have paid $20, okay? Everything was $1.99, and I had 10 items in my arms. So, you know, 20 bucks. So I get to the register, he rings me up, he totals me out, and I only pay $14. I don't know how that even happened. I don't know what buttons were pressed. All I know is that I paid $14 for 10 things. I'm like, I struck gold that day, and I waited a long time in line too. I was super excited about that, my friends. And so, what do I make with that Nora yarn that I got from Goodwill? I don't want to leave it sit forever. It's only 110 yards for each skein. It's a small situation. So I thought, what if I did just a simple beanie, right? Something like what Matt is wearing right now, because this ran 150 yards. So with the 2 Noro skeins, I would be able to do that and still have some left over. Maybe not exactly this pattern, but maybe something to this effect where it's not overly complicated and it's not a yarn eater. And I can just call that like my Noro beanie. Nothing over the top, nothing fancy, but just a beanie that I made with that Noro yarn that I got at Goodwill. I think that's great. I think that's a great idea, you know? Because I don't have enough of that Noro yarn to create anything substantial to give it a name of any sort. I don't know. Anyway, my friends, I made it to the end of this second row finally. The breeze was blowing, my friends. The breeze was blowing. I just could not stop talking about that whole situation with yarn. Anywho, talking about beanies, I'm going to hop on over to the Stylecraft yarn that I got from Tracy's shop, hobbyrocks.co.uk. And where are we at here? Excuse me. Let's see. Okay, we're on this side here. So, double crochets in the round. Okay, so there's 3 rounds here with increases. Those are done. And so now from here on out, I am literally just going around and around and around. That's it. Now I'm using a letter M crochet hook. So it's a 9mm. Now the yarn suggests a 10. I hooked down to a 9 because I think a 10 is just too loose, you know. Now my only gripe with this is it doesn't slide on the hook as comfortably as I would have hoped. I'm thinking maybe user error. I'm not exactly sure. Am I holding it too tight? Because I did hook down on top of this, but I mean, it's not like I'm going to be here all day crocheting it. It's like Thick and Quick, but from across the pond. It's Stylecraft's version of Thick and Quick. You know? Super bulky, and I love the mauve colors, and to my surprise, there's like some browns in there. Do you see that? There's bits and bobbles of brown in there. So unexpected, like mauve with brown, and bits and bobbles of plum. I don't know who designed the colors, but I'm here for it because it's different and I'm not used to seeing that, you know? Anyway, I can't believe how comfortable this yarn feels in my hand. It's 80 acrylic and 20 wool. And the wool, I mean, it doesn't even feel like wool. I mean, it's wool, but it doesn't feel like wool, if that makes any sense. To me, wool has that itchy effect. It makes you just want to scratch your skin. Not this. It's very plump and plush and lush and soft and supple. Me and my words. Soft and supple. It's very thoughtful. It's very demure. I'm kidding. I've been watching too much social media, little clips and things. Apparently that's a trend. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just going to continue going in the round with this very nice mauve colored yarn. Now, if you go over there to hobbyrocks.co.uk, you will notice that Tracy put up Santa sacks on her website. She's got these mystery bags and Santa sacks and things, getting ready for the holidays, and her latest video talks about the details behind them. I would highly recommend that you check that out if you're interested in like mystery bags and boxes and things, especially if it's new to you yarn from the UK. I mean, why not? We all love a good mystery, right? So I myself plan on checking that out. I haven't gone over there yet because, you know, I'm recording videos and things, but as soon as I get a free moment, I'm going to go over there and check that out. And my hope is that I can score a box or two and open them up on the channel and talk about them and just show off the yarns, because I started a new segment on my channel on Mondays during the podcast. So I do a Hobby Rocks feature. So every week I pick yarns that I have purchased from the website and I show them off and I talk to you about them. This past podcast, I just pulled out some of my favorites and I talked about them and things, but I plan on creating swatches and just little projects and things with the yarns to kind of show you what it looks like worked up. But yes, it's really, really nice. I'm very excited to show off the yarns that I have here from the UK. And she does have weight-based shipping, so it's not like it's tiered. You don't have to worry about meeting a quota in order to get, you know, that cheaper shipping rate. So that is super nice. But with the holidays right around the corner, I'm bringing this up because she doesn't have many Santa sacks, but the ones that she does have, she's hoping that everyone likes, because she hand selected all of the yarns for those mystery bags. And I'm very excited too, because hopefully she knows that I love all things purple, especially dark purple, wink wink. So if she sees my order, please, dark pink, wink wink. I'm just saying. Anyway, as long as it's not the it's burning, I'm kidding. I tease. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, dark purple is my favorite color. I have it right next to me in a hank that was gifted to me. Let me just show this to you. Look at this beautiful hank of aubergine. Look at how dark that is. That's like dark, 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 dark purple. That right here is my favorite color, right here. It's in this cubby right here where my finger is. It's got that pink skein right there in the middle. This whole cubby right here by my head is my favorite cubby in the whole entire room, because it's this color right here, aubergine. Anyway, that is my absolute favorite color. So I can't get enough of it. Now, I mentioned this before, but I'll tell you guys again. Back at the turn of the century, I make myself sound so old. At the turn of the century, I painted my room purple. It was a dark purple, and the colorway name was called Evening Drama. I kid you not, that's the name of the paint. It was called Evening Drama, and it was like this deep, deep, dark aubergine purple. I painted the ceiling, I painted the walls, the floorboards, the insides of the closets. Every single space was this color. I have no idea why. I mean, the 90s were wrapping up. It was 99, turning into the year 2000. Y2K was the thing. You know, I figured, let me go out with a bang. Let me finally get a room with my favorite color, finally. And I bought like 5 gallons of it, so I had plenty to go on. And yeah, it was my favorite room to date. And that was, what, 24 years ago? I've never done it again, I promise you that. Trying to paint over dark purple is very difficult because you have to prime the wall twice. I know, because I had to do it. I had to prime the wall twice in order to paint over it. Oh my. Lesson learned. But you know what? It was a lot of fun while I had it, that color. I really enjoyed how dark the room was because everything popped. Like my accents, my little statues, my bedspread, everything in the room just popped because the walls were so dark, you know. Very abnormal, but that's okay. I like that for me. And my mom, when she saw it, she said, Juan, why? That was all she said. She said, why? Why, Juan? And I said, because I love it. I love the color. So my passion for purple is decades old. It's always been purple. So, I mean, there are colors that are a very close second place. I kid you not. I mean, there are some very beautiful colors out there that I just absolutely love. And I can't get enough of. But purple for me has an emotional connection. It's my grandmother's favorite color. And I was close to my grandmother. I was close to my aunt. And, you know, purple was her favorite color too. So I feel close to them when I'm around purple. So, second place, like my second favorite color. Okay, so it is a close second. Very close. And that color is, hold on, right there. This. I think I went a little too close, but this, red. Red is my second favorite color after purple. And I don't know if it's because I'm a Leo. I don't know if it's because of how nice the red goes with purple. In the very beginning of my channel, I think it may have been the first video or two, I can't remember, I showcased a purple blanket with red in it. And that blanket was the blanket that I made that decision that I also love red. And yeah, I love a good red. And it is a close second. And the funny thing is I love red. I love red, but I don't really care for pink. Unless it's hot pink because of Sasha. That's the only thing, you know? If it's powder pink or dusty rose pink or any of the other pinks, no thanks. I'm not a fan. But I love a good red, and I do know that when you add white to red, it turns to pink. I know this. But I'm far removed from the pink, okay? Like, yes. Anyway, my friends, I have to tell you that I really enjoy these WIPn It with Juan sessions. I mentioned this earlier, but it was so nice I have to mention it twice. I was hoping to get this done before the end of the WIPn It with Juan session, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case, and that's okay. Let me go ahead and show you what this looks like so far. Just your standard double crochet beanie. Very nice. And I think Matt is going to look amazing in it when it's done. Look at those colors, right? So good. So good. Anyway, my friends, thank you so much for hanging out with me for this Whipping It with Juan session. I hope you had a good time. I hope you got a chance to answer some of the many questions that I put out there. If you enjoyed this, like I said in the beginning, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment or two. I would definitely appreciate the support. That is it for this one, my friends, and until the next one, take care. Bye.